Hi, you're watching my channel, Clodbuster. What's going on, you guys? So it's been a little while since I did a video. That's because I've just been crazy busy at my shop at work, plus working on the monster truck, and been doing a little bit of trucking on the side. In fact, I was going to take my truck out today, pull a trailer for a guy, but there was a problem with the fifth wheel, and it's raining and everything, so it looks like I'll be playing with RC cars today. I haven't touched a Clodbuster, let alone any RC car, in about a month. So this is cool. It's nice to be able to get back on the bench working on some Clodbusters. So a little while ago, I showed you the RC four-wheel drive CVD kit for the Clodbuster. And in the comment section, a couple people said they heard about fitment issues. So there were actually a couple. I'll show you those fitment issues and also what goes into the Clodbuster axles that I run. So out of the box, the factory Clod axle is pretty solid. Like, these gear cases never break. I always run the factory gears, never have problems with them. The only thing that ever really seems to break are the axle tubes, like here. And that's really about it. So I just put some hot racing aluminum axle tubes, and then I run these CVDs. Actually, this is the first time running these RC four-wheel drive CVDs. I did a video on those a little while ago. So I'll first start by taking this one apart. And these come apart really easy. So this axle's from an original Clod, not a super Clodbuster. So all the screws are like the goldish color, so I'll change those with like silver ones. I try to keep as much of the original Clod hardware for when I'm restoring old Clodbusters. It's that easy. And that's how they come apart. And then so all I do is, I won't bore you with the whole build, I just take all these out, get rid of the plastic bushings, put in some ball bearings. I'll change out the axle tubes for these hot racing aluminum ones. When you buy these hot racing aluminum ones, you can either get the small knuckle or the normal size knuckle. I always get the normal size one. So now I'll just pop the new bearings in, assemble with these RC four-wheel drive shafts and the hot racing axle tubes, and I'll show you that fitment issue. Also, a quick tip before I go any further. Whenever I'm doing gear work, whether it's on a transmission or an axle, I like to work on a piece of glass. So I get a strong piece of commercial grade glass, and that's where I like to do my gear work. Because it's way easier to keep things nice and clean when you're working on a piece of glass. And it's like the old saying goes, cleanliness is next to clodliness. Just make sure when you get the glass, you get a thick commercial grade glass. It doesn't break as easy as like stuff you get at a hardware store. Alright, so another little tip right now, put the axle tube to the gear case. And it uses the factory screws, but because it's going into aluminum, I like to use a little bit of thread locker. So working on the glass is nice because you can just make a little puddle, thread locker, and then just dip your screws in it. It makes it go together really easy, less mess. And being that it's on glass, cleanup is very easy. Okay, so the axle tubes are now all assembled with the gear cases. So now I just got to pop the bearings in, put the gears together. But there's one other thing I want to show you. So this is going to be the rear axle. And I always like to lock the rear axle, keep the front open. Some people don't like locked axles at all. I just like having the rear locked. That's what I'm used to. So you have a couple options. You could buy like the aftermarket aluminum hot racing spool, or you can just do like this one. Put some JB weld right in there, and that thing never comes loose. Or another thing I've done in the past was just drill a hole through here and put a couple bolts, a nut and a bolt, just make sure you use a nylock, and some Loctite would help. But JB Weld has never failed. Because all the axles are back together, so I'll show you that fitment issue that a lot of people mentioned with these CVDs. So what happened was when you put this part in, the outer knuckle, it wouldn't go in all the way. there was about a 1/16 of an inch to go. And that's because that inner bearing didn't go down deep enough. So there was an easy fix for that. Where the bearing sits, I just take a 15-30 seconds drill bit. Just go down about a 1/16 of an inch. Really what I should do is, I should be doing this at my shop with an end mill on the Bridgeport, but most people don't have one of those, so a drill bit works fine. So it's 15-30 seconds. Just don't go too far, the bearing will go in too far. So once you do that, you just pop the bearing in. Now it fits perfect. Okay, axles are complete. I had my fun for today, so now all I have to do is paint these. I don't really like the look of the silver axle tubes. I like things to look stock, kind of like a sleeper. By sleeper I mean something looks stock and slow, but it's really built and fast. And one other quick tip. So I'm building this for somebody. So when I assemble these differentials, I use grease from PPR slots, Shen RC, so you can get the light grease or the heavy grease. But if I were building a race cloud for myself, I would put no grease. And it sounds kind of weird, but if you turn an axle that has a lot of grease on the gears compared to an axle with no grease, the one with no grease turns a lot easier. And that's because anytime you have parts moving through fluid, which grease is, it's called parasitic drag. So having these things greased creates that parasitic drag and makes them turn a little harder than if you had no grease. Problem is, if you run it for a long time with no grease, it'll overheat, there'll be friction, it'll wear out. But in something like a monster truck that's just running in short bursts, having no grease is fine. But because I build this for someone else, that's why I grease it up, because in a racing application it's okay, but if it's like a daily driver, you're going to want to make sure it's nice and greased. So I don't really know exactly what application this guy's using this for, so that's why I grease it up. But yeah, check out PPR slots, awesome grease, really nice stuff. So as far as electronics go, I'll show you what I'm going to be running. So this truck's going to be brushless, so I'll be using Trinity RevTech X-Factor 13.5 turn motors. Censored. I always run censored motors in these. Hobby Wing, quick run 120. For batteries, pretty cool. I'm pretty psyched to try these batteries out. These are new Trinity batteries. They're 2S saddle packs. I'll be running 2. And I can run these parallel or series, so you can either make it 2S or 4S. So that's going to be cool. So I can't wait to get that going and see how that goes. Anyway, that's about it for now. Take care. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And hit the bell.